just what would be one takeaway that you want people to know from the book, and why you wanted to put the time in to bring this to the people after your presidency?
The main takeaway, especially for young people who read it, and whether you're reading it or there's an audio book, some folks
The audiobook's you, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
folks who want to soak it in that way. My main takeaway connects to what you said just before, which is I want people to read this and say, okay, you know what? Actually, I have a better sense now of how our government works. I have a better sense of how the world operates, how power operates, how decisions get made that influence the world around me. And my voice, my ability to impact that is more significant than I thought. Part of the reason that I wrote this, tracking my journey as a young man through the presidency, was so that people would look at it and say, oh, well, he's smart, but, he's not a rocket scientist. He's not Einstein. He's a good speaker, but, he wasn't always a good speaker. He obviously had some talent, but man, he made a lot of mistakes, and, he had some stuff that wasn't working out for him, and he was disappointed and stumbled and sometimes got embarrassed, in public. I write about how, first couple of debates I was in, man, I would stumble through my answer, and the buzzer would go off. Like, I was halfway through my answer, I was terrible. And so the reason I want folks to see that is so that, if you're coming up and you want to do something, whether it's around criminal justice reform, or it's around climate change, or it's around, inequality, or kids getting a better education, whatever it is, I want folks to read this and say, I can do that. Now, you may not end up being president. You may not want to.
Right.
You may not run for public office. But what I want people to be able to see is this idea of government of, by, and for the people. It actually can happen if you get involved.
Right.
The reason that, so much of our public life is governed by, or at least seems to be governed by, greed and power and, cynicism and, folks want to take advantage of other people, is so often because the rest of us just sit back. Because we kind of think like, well, I can't make a difference. I can't do anything about that. And the more cynical we get, the less involved we get. And then the more disappointed we are in the outcomes. And it gets to be a vicious circle. And what I want to communicate is, look, put yourself out there, get in the arena, right? Take your shot. And yeah, it's not going to be perfect, and you won't get everything out of it that you want, but you will have more power than you understand if you just let it let it show, and take some risks.